Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. Last week, we discussed The Name of This Book is Secret by Pseudonymous Bosch. This week, we talked to the mysterious writer himself, otherwise known as Rafael Simon. Well, talk about the style of this book, because the idea of inserting yourself as a writer sometimes really intimidates other writers. How did that come about?
Well, partly it happened because I was writing initially for this one girl named May as part of this Writing Partners program. So in the same way that you would address a letter to a person and you'd write a letter in second person, I started writing the book that way. So that's really how it began. And I found it just as I found having a pseudonym sort of liberating. I found writing to a particular audience also grease the wheel, so to speak. And it's actually something that I recommend to other writers and to kids and grown-ups alike when they ask for writing advice. Is I often say to them, try writing to a particular person, real or imaginary, and imagine that you're speaking to them. And that, I find, really brings writing to life, and it makes it a lot easier to write and makes it more fun.
At what point did you decide to also include puzzles and games in the novel?
I think in part that came out of the sort of the secret themes, and I liked puzzles when I was younger, and I was trying to make it fun. And my editor at Little Brown for the first book actually really liked that aspect of the book, so she encouraged me at the very end to put in a few more puzzles than were there initially.
And writing a series, did you think about it in terms, you must have thought of it in terms of series, because the first book ends at a cliffhanger.
By the time I got to the very end, that was in my head. But, initially I didn't even think I would finish the one book, let alone get to write a series. But certainly by the end, I was thinking about the next book, and I initially had a 2-book contract. And then there was a third, and then a fourth and a fifth, because as you might remember, there's this whole theme about the senses. So we kind of came up with the structure that each book would be loosely tied to one of the 5 senses.
So how did you structure? I mean, did you know it was going to be 5 parts when you knew you were going to go beyond book 2? I mean, how do you actually structure your series?
I think that really came about, with the third book. When I kind of realized I wanted to do this 5 senses structure, and the third book, is this book is not good for you, and it has this mysterious chocolate in the book. I personally, in real life, but also as this character, Pseudonymous Bosch, being a great fan of chocolate.
That came through in book 1.
So, then it was sort of helpful by then to kind of tie each book's mystery to one of the senses, and it's like in the first book there's the Symphony of Smells, and it kind of goes on from there.
Are you a plotter or a pantser?
I'm a half plotter, half pantser. I've now written 12 books, including my last book, which is not a Pseudonymous Bosch book. But even with that one, it's really been the same thing, where I have plotted out about half the book, gotten stuck, and then tearing my hair out, decided, well, I just have to start writing or I'm never going to write. And then I get halfway through the book writing, and guess what? I get stuck again. So then I have to kind of take stock and plot out the rest of the book. That's kind of what happens almost every time.
And what gave you the bravery to finally come out of the fake name world into putting your actual name on the cover of a book?
Well, initially it was a lot of fun and very liberating to be this character, Pseudonymous Bosch. But gradually, over the years, it's begun to feel a little bit stifling. That I can't sort of just relax and be me. And there was one day in particular where I was on stage answering questions at Pseudonymous Bosch, and there was a question asked of me to talk about an embarrassing incident from my childhood, and it was a fellow writer friend named Adam Gedwiz asking me this question, and he wanted probably me to tell some sort of funny story that the kids could relate to. And what happened was that all I could think about was something from 7th grade where a girl I knew who had recently heard that 1 out of 10 people were gay kept counting people around the schoolyard and getting to me when she got to gay, and saying, or rather when she got to the number 10. And I was stuck on this story, and I realized that I was feeling very closeted, as Pseudonymous Bosch. Whereas in my real life, so to speak, I came out as a freshman in college. Here, when I was interacting with the public and with kids all over the country, I was this other character who wasn't straight per se, but just was not forthcoming about my own personal life because that was the character, to be secretive. But it just felt like it felt like somehow a step backwards for me, and I felt a certain responsibility as a gay author to be out of the closet about my sexual orientation. And I just decided at that point that I was going to eventually be Rafael again and not be pseudonymous any longer.
Ever? You're not going to go back?
Oh, I would never say that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thanks, Rafael. We have interviews with dozens of other wonderful writers at our website, bookclubforkids.org. And if you're looking for another podcast, check out the Fina Mendoza Mysteries. It's free and not only a good mystery story, but also the perfect introduction to civics education for elementary school students. There's curriculum at the website and a free teacher's guide that you can download. Check it out, thefinamendozamysteries.com.